Welcome to Kautilya Careers. As a part of the Gurukul teacher recruitment test pattern, we know pretty well that examination will be conducted in two phases. The first one is what we call screening examination. In the syllabus which is prescribed for this screening examination, there are three parts: Part A, Part B, Part C. Now let us see the concepts which were included in Part B. So the Part B contains three major areas, that is reasoning abilities and data interpretation, which is followed by the moral values and professional ethics of a teacher. And the next major one in this part B is teaching aptitude. So now let us discuss the concepts which are related to that of teacher education, that is moral values, professional ethics and teaching aptitude. Now, what is teaching aptitude? Is there any particular or concerned topics which are related to the teaching aptitude or not? See, this teaching aptitude in true sense, the different abilities what a teacher can possess while organizing the classroom. Simply, we can say that the classroom management. In order to manage the class, what are the different characteristic features that a teacher must and should possess? Which means this teaching aptitude includes what we call the competencies of the teacher, the personality traits of the teacher, and basically how to recognize the individual differences in the classroom. What are the different strategies being a teacher can adopt in the classroom? Now let us see from which areas we can expect the questions, particularly in this teaching aptitude. Means we have to remember, that is what we call the fundamental concepts of education, and aims of education, and followed by what we call the classroom management. So classroom management, it contains so many subtopics. What are the different subtopics in this classroom management? Let us see. In the classroom management, first of all, the teacher must understand the psychology of the classroom. All students cannot carry over the same type of attitude. So the teacher must have awareness to understand the different students' attitude according to their what we call individual differences. Individual differences. Then, according to the individual differences, a teacher is supposed to provide the teaching and learning experiences. While providing this teaching and learning experiences, the teacher must have awareness on what we call motivation management and discipline management And in the process of learning and teaching, what is the role of rewards and the role of punishment? Then different strategies which can be adopted in the classroom, that is what we call teacher centric method and child centric method, or inquiry method oblique discovery method. So these all are the various types of methods of instruction which is suitable according to the individual differences of the students in the classroom. In the same fashion, this classroom management also includes, that is, the study habits of the learner. Which style of learning process that should be encouraged, whether it is either be self-learning or group learning, cooperative learning, collaborative learning. So these are the 4 areas through which the child can attain or acquire the knowledge. That is self-learning, what we call individualized learning, group learning. What are the merits and demerits of individualized learning? What are the merits and demerits of group learning? What is the fundamental concept of, that is, cooperative and collaborative? Is there any difference between cooperative and collaborative learning or not? So all these concepts includes in classroom management. And the major component which also included in the classroom management is the different what we call factors which influence the process of learning. Different factors which influence the process of learning. That means these factors can be bifurcated into 3 categories. That is the factors related to that learner, and the factors related to teacher, and the factors which are related to that of teaching and learning material. So there are 3 major areas on which the factors which influence the process of learning, that is factors associated to that learner, factors related to the teacher and school factors, and the third factor which influence the process of learning is the teaching and learning material, the factors which are associated to that of teaching and learning material. And these topics are followed by what we call in the beginning, that is the moral values, moral code of conduct and professional ethics. All these guidelines which were issued by NCERT and NPE 1986. That means according to NCERT guidelines, according to NPE 1986 guidelines, what are the different professional ethics that a teacher must possess? This is the area what a student is supposed to study according to the syllabus which was prescribed for the screening examination in the part B, and the second, third, fourth units are related to these areas. Now let us see, let us start with teaching aptitude. Here aptitude means it is nothing but abilities or competency, ability, fitness. So these all are the different meanings for the word aptitude. Thus, that means whether that individual, that means the teacher is having that competencies or fitness or ability for teaching or not. In order to test the teaching aptitude in a teacher, there are so many measures. We can assess the performance of a teacher simply, which can be defined as the aptitude of the teacher in teaching. Why? Because the teaching, this word is derived from a Latin word, that is techno. So, an equivalent word for the Latin word techno in English is art, which means teaching is an art. That's why it is a science of art. Teaching is not a simply what we call explaining or giving a lecture, doesn't come under the concept of teaching. A person who teaches right from the basic and right from the concepts by taking all necessary precautions while choosing the method of instruction or the method of approach or the method of technique, that should be quite suitable to the content what he or she is going to explain in the classroom. So that's why the teaching itself is regarded as an art. So in other words, what we call the teaching subject, any subject which is being taught by the teacher, it also comes under what we call methodology. It is nothing but technically it is known as pedagogy. So this term pedagogy has also derived from Greek words. It is the combination of two Greek words. It is the combination of two Greek words. That is, what are the two different Greek words of this word pedagogy? That is paid or paider plus again. These two are the Greek words which is the result that is resulted in the formation of English word, that is pedagogy. Here paid or paider, which means child. Again, that means to lead. In brief, pedagogy means to lead the child, which means how to lead the child. How to lead the child means by providing what we call it as education. So by providing education, we are supposed to lead the child. Education, an English word, has derived from what we call Latin words. It was believed that education word has derived from the Latin words, either from the word that is educare or educere or educatrum. So there are three synonymous words in Latin language for that English word education, that is educare, educere, educatrum. What does it mean? Educare means, what is educare? It is nothing but to bring up or to nourish. These two are the meanings for the Latin term educare, whereas educere means, that is to lead out, to draw out. These two are the equivalent meanings in English for the Latin word educere. And the third one, that is educatrum. Educatrum is a Latin word. An equivalent word in English for the word educatrum is an act of teaching or act of training. So these three are the Latin words. There are specific meanings for each and every Latin word, but it is believed that it can be derived either from educare or educere or educatrum. And there are different equivalent words also. Educare means to bring up, to nourish. Educere means to lead out or to draw out. Educatrum, which means an act of teaching or an act of training. And one more concept is also there, that education, what we call Vidya in Telugu, which has derived from a Sanskrit word, that is with. So the word Vidya has derived from a Sanskrit word, that is with, which means that is knowledge. In the same fashion, it is also believed that the word education has also derived from a Persian word, that is talim, which also means the same, that is knowledge. So Latin words, Sanskrit word and Persian word. In the Latin words, educare, educere, educatrum. In Sanskrit word, it has been derived from a with a Sanskrit word, which means knowledge in English. It is also believed that that word has derived from Persian word language, that is talim, that is what we call in English an equivalent word is knowledge. So pedagogy, aptitude, which means in a brief how to lead the child by providing education. What does it mean? To draw out. Which should be drawn out? That is the knowledge, which is in the hidden state. It is the fundamental aim of education to draw out the knowledge, to lead out the boy, to bring up the knowledge, to nourish the skills, whatever it is. That is what we call education. That is the ultimate goal of education. When we see the pedagogical concerns of any subject, whatever it is, in this context, in order to understand the pedagogical concerns, what is pedagogy, how to lead the child, means it is nothing but there are three fundamental questions through which the pedagogical concerns revolve mostly. What are the three fundamental questions? How can we question? Simply, the answers for those three questions can be included as the major units in the concept of pedagogy. What are the three questions? The first question is what we call why to teach. This is the first question. And second question, that is what to teach. And third question, how to teach. So the answers for these three questions itself reveals, illustrates the concepts of pedagogical concerns. Say, the answer for the first one, why to teach? Being a teacher, why should I teach? Why? Because the student must enable to achieve his educational objectives. For that purpose, being a teacher, I am supposed to teach. That's why the first concept of pedagogy, irrespective of the subject, you are supposed to study about the different educational objectives. Whether it is physical science or biological science or social studies or mathematics, even languages. The first and fundamental concept is for the teacher is having awareness about what we call educational objectives. These educational objectives were well bifurcated by Benjamin Bloom. So he divided all these educational objectives into three fundamental categories. What are the three fundamental categories as bifurcated by Benjamin Bloom in the taxonomy of educational objectives? Taxonomy of educational objectives. There are particularly three domains. The names of the three domains are: one is cognitive domain, second one is affective domain, and third one is psychomotor domain. These are the three major domains through which we can achieve, we can make an individual, we can make the learner to achieve his educational objectives. So, why to teach? The answer for the question why to teach is in order to achieve educational objectives by the learner. That is the answer for the first question. Now, let us see the second question. What is the second question? What to teach? Okay, why to teach? I satisfied with that answer. Now, after I came to know what I am supposed to teach, the next step is what to teach. The answer for that question, what to teach, means being a teacher, we are supposed to teach what we call curriculum. We are not supposed to use the word that is syllabus. Why? Because syllabus is a part of curriculum, whereas curriculum is not a part of the syllabus. Curriculum itself means all activities which are being taken up by the school. That means there are different functions which can be carried out by the school itself. Out of those different functions of the school, teaching syllabus is one of the functions. At the same time, teaching syllabus is not only the function of the school. It comes under the academic activities. When we consider the functions of the school, school must be able to provide both academic activities as well as non-academic activities. That means, in addition to providing syllabus, the school must look after co-curricular activities, extracurricular activities, and other events, important day celebrations. All these things comes under the concept of curriculum. So, being a teacher, if you are strictly stick on to teach the syllabus, you never make the learners as all-rounders. At the same time, no teacher is supposed to stick on only for teaching the syllabus. A teacher must involve all the school programs, whether it is academic or non-academic. That's why we must use the word curriculum. That itself is the answer for the question what to teach. And the answer for the third question, that is how to teach, which plays a major role in classroom management. The success or failure of class depends on the third question and the answer for the third question, that is how to teach. Now let us see, as per the pedagogical concerns of the content, there are three different strategies for the answer to the question how to teach, that is teaching approaches, and methods of instruction, and third one is teaching techniques. These are the three different strategies to apply, to adopt in the classroom management, and the same are answer for the question how to teach. Whether the teacher is supposed to adopt teaching approach or teaching method or method of instruction, and the third one is teaching technique. It depends on the nature of the content, the difficulty level of the content, the nature of the topic, and the individual differences of the students in the class. These all the factors should be taken into consideration before selecting whether teaching approach or suitable method of instruction or the suitable teaching technique. The approach or method or technique which is implemented for one particular content or any subtopic in that content may or may not suitable to teach the other subjects or to teach other topics in the same subject. So in this area particularly, either if it is a teaching approach or it is a method of instruction or teaching technique. For example, if we consider the concepts, a few concepts, let us see the physical science. A teacher in the classroom, while applying the aptitude in the teaching as a process of teaching and learning, suppose the teacher wants to explain the concept of, say, the difference between static electricity and current electricity. Whether the teacher is supposed to adopt approach or method of instruction. Definitely, it is very clear that the teacher must select a suitable teaching approach. After explanation is completed on the fundamental concept, if the teacher wants to explain in depth, then she is or he is supposed to select the suitable method of instruction. The same may or may not applicable to teach some other topics or in the chemistry. So that is the role which will be played by these teaching strategies. So these three are the answers for those three questions. What is pedagogical concerns and how they play a vital role or key role in the classroom management, particularly how it affects and reflects the teaching aptitude of the teacher. So why to teach, what to teach, how to teach. In brief, the answer for the question is to achieve